Hello, everyone. So today we're going to be covering Fusion 360. So from here on out, we will be using Fusion 360, which is a three-dimensional software for computer-aided design. This or some slides I'll be uploading. So just to give you some information on installing Fusion 360, hopefully you already have it. But you can go to Autodesk.com and you can download the software for just as you did for AutoCAD. I'm not going to go over that, but here's a link. So if you click that, you can copy it or click it. If you click it, it'll take you to Autodesk.com, right? And then you can just type in download free trial, or you can just type in free download. Or you can go to products and you can say Fusion 360, things of that nature. But you want to make sure you download the free version. So it's easy to just type in free downloads. But anyways, and these are the options you have for downloading it. All right, now let's just jump into the software. This is the software. So when you open up Fusion 360, you should have this canvas. All right. And so just to go over some of the things that we went over when we were using AutoCAD, you have your cube, right? There's your cube. You have your drawing settings, right? We're in units currently, but if you want to change 2 millimeters, you select it. And you'll see this little you see this little box over here. You can go to drop down, change the millimeters. And that's how you do that. Name views, you have your top, front, right? And you have home. Top, front, right. What does that remind you of? Orthographic views, right? You got your origin. And then you have your X, Y, and Z plane or your axes, X, Y, X, Z, Y, Z. So X, Y is a plane. Excuse me, X, Y, and Z, your axis. Now, up here you have these different tabs, these multiple tabs up here, where you have create. In the create tab, you have your sketch. We'll get to that later. You have extrude, you have revolve, you have fold, rectangular pattern. Should remember these things. And this is for creating a drawing, right? But these commands here are for creating a 3D image, right? All right, so this is all in the create. Now, if you click the drop down, you have more commands. New component, you have sweep. I'll show you how to do a sweep. You have loft, rib, web, right? Yeah, you got box, cylinder, sphere, coil, pipe. You got mirror, remember mirror. You also have pattern here, right? So you got circular pattern with the path. You can thicken an object, right? So these are all creation commands to create. All right. You got animate if you want to animate an object, right? So if you have an assembly, you can animate your assembly using this command. You have modifying, all your modifying commands, press pull, fill it. Remember fill it, not fillet, fill it. You have chamfer, remember chamfer, shell, draft. Draft is just creating an angle, not an angle. Scale, you can scale an object, combine two different objects, right? But all of these are your modifying commands. But these are modifying commands in 3D, not 2D. Remember that. So you can modify an object, a three-dimensional object, using these commands. Then you have your assemble. So you can create an assembly, out of multiple parts, right? And join them together using these commands. You can construct different planes if you don't want to use the planes that they have for you. You want to create another plane, you construct an offset plane. You remember inspect, so you can inspect. You can also do three-dimensional analysis, FEA, finite element analysis, on your object to determine the strength of these objects. All right. Insert. You can insert bill of materials. You can insert PDFs, things of that nature. All right, and this just select. So Fusion 360. Fusion 360. If you all remember from one of the first lectures I spoke of on AutoCAD, Fusion 360 is a dimension-driven software. The dimensions drive the software. What does that mean? Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look. So whenever you start or you're about to create a sketch, you always want to go to this plus arrow and it asks, do you want to create a sketch? Yes. And so when you go to create a sketch, notice how you have this plane. This is my XZ plane right here, and it's showing to be my front surface, right? So this is the front surface. If I were to create a drawing, if I go to my right surface, notice that's my YZ plane. All right, I always recommend to start my drawing on the front, which would be my XZ plane. All right. So what I do is I left click, and that allows me to select that plane. So that's the plane that I'm creating a drawing on, right? And so I said Fusion 360 or three-dimensional softwares, they are dimension driven. So if I select this rectangle, right, and see these are all my drawing commands, remember them from AutoCAD, this should look just like AutoCAD. You have fillet, you have offset, you have trim, you have your blend curve. These are all your modifying commands, right? You have spline, or like a P line. You got mirror, you have dimension, you have line, you have circle, rectangle. So if I were to create a rectangle, right? You see how I just drew that rectangle. So if I come up here and I select dimension, this is my dimension, and I left click this line, drag the dimension up, left click to terminate, and then I'm saying I want that to be 1. Magic, it became 1. And all of 4 sides are equal. So you see these are constraints here, right? And so because all of these lines are equal, when I change that one horizontal line to 1, all of the other lines became 1 because they're all equal. And that's what I mean by by dimension driven. Because if I change this to 1 or 100, it's going to change to that dimension for me. So that means I don't have to tell it the size before I can just draw it. I could just create a drawing and then dimension it. So let's look at a drawing from that PDF. All right, let's see. Drawing that we can create. Oh, look at that. That's pretty fancy. We won't do that complicated. Not right off the bat. Not today. That's also a good problem. We won't do that either. No, let's find another one. Let's do, yes, let's do this one. It's pretty easy, right? We have this little shape here. And so we create this sketch, right? We'll create this sketch to create this object. So if you look at this object, it's isometric view. So we'll pick this front face here to draw. And then we will extrude it to make it 3-dimensional. So first things first is Let's create this front face. I'll move that. All righty. What does that look like? It looks like a bunch of lines and then some rounds along those edges. So let's just start drawing some lines. So you can just start anywhere you want to, right? You can make this as long as you want. And so just like in AutoCAD, left click and left click starts it, left click ends it, left click, left click, left click, left click, left click, and then left click, right? And so I didn't dimension it because it's dimension driven. Now, one thing to take note, that drawing I just showed you, the units are not in inches. So I come over here, yes, I can edit it anytime I want, and I click OK. So now I'm in millimeters. You see how this point here does not connect? That's absolutely fine. If you come up here and you see these constraints, click the drop down arrow. And if I need these two to connect, see, that's fine, one to connect them. Would it be coincident? Coincident. What does it do? It says constraints the position of 2 points or a point in a line or curve together. Let's try that. If I go coincident, I click this point and that point. And voila, look at that. And now look at this. So the height of this one and the height of that one, they're not the same. I want them to be the same. So what would I do? Well, I can click this line, and I can say, I want them to be collinear. Well, where is collinear? If I come up here, that's not collinear, that's not collinear. We know that's coincident, that's equal. I could pick equal, yes. Parallel, and they're already parallel. Perpendicular, I don't need them to be perpendicular. Fixed, I don't want it to be fixed. Midpoint, I don't need a midpoint. Concentric, that's not what I need. Collinear, that's collinear. What is collinear? Collinear is constrains two or more objects so that they share a common line. This could be a line and a rectangle where the line and one edge of the rectangle lie along the same line. That sounds like that's what I need. So if I click that, and I click that, oh, look at that. These two rectangles. Now, those top lines lie among the same line. Like this imaginary line goes all the way through, right? Just can't see it right there. So that's what I want. All right. Now let's look at the dimensions. So we have 90 in the horizontal, in the vertical. We have 200 in the horizontal, and then this line is 50 millimeters. All right, let's select this, and I want that to be 90. So I have some kind of constraint, and it says we're not going to let you make that 90. Let's delete that constraint. I'm not sure what constraint that was, but we deleted it. And so if I select that by left clicking that line, and then I select this by left clicking, I can create that dimension, and that was 50. All right, so I have 50, I have 90, and then this edge here should be 40. And then these two create a constraint. Select this horizontal line, and I select that horizontal line, it'll make those two equal. All righty, and next, I want to select this horizontal line, and it should be 200. All right, now that should be all of the dimensions. But what I want to do next is I want to constrain this with the origin. So I'll dimension it. So if I select the center point of the origin and I select that line there, and I want to center it. So if this line here is 200, the middle of 200 would be 100. So yeah, voila. Now I want to center it's between this vertical line. So this is um, 90. So from the origin to this line, I want it to be 45. And that centers it. And that over, I have one line that's not constrained. And why is that? Let's see. I click that and that. And that would be one. And that should be 45. All right, now when you see it fully black, every line is black, that means this object that I just drew is fully defined. Fully defined means you have all of the dimensions on this drawing that makes up this drawing. In other words, I have all the dimensions I need to give this to a machine shop so that they can create the object that I need them to create. That's what fully defined means. You have all the dimensions you need. This fully defined really is for designers. I always tell my students that, like, when I say it's for designers, I mean designers go with our code of fully defining their object. What it does is it prevents you from having any mistakes down the line with your object, right? It's like prevents any mistakes because everything was intact, everything was fully defined before you finished your sketch. All right, so when you finish your sketch, you click finish your sketch, and then you have this two-dimensional object. Two-dimensional object. See how it's two-dimensional? Yeah. It has an X and a Y. Or in our case, because this is Z, XZ, so you have an X and a Z. And then Y would be in and out of the page. All right, so now we want to create a thickness of this guy. How do we do that? Well, you're going to go extrude. So this is your extrude command. So if I select extrude command, it's going to pre-select the object. I don't have to select it, pre-select it for me. Right? And I want that thickness to be 40 millimeters. Come here and start at 40. And then there it is. And then I can click OK. And now if I go back and I select my front face again, I create sketch. I can create, so what I could do is I can select the XZ plane or I can select my front face. It doesn't matter, either one, because what I want to do now is draw the two holes that are at the bottom. So just for now, I'll just select XZ again. I'll create a circle somewhere on the object and then I'll dimension it, right? Why? Because it's dimension driven. And so that diameter is 15. And then I just need to figure out where they are with respect to this particular object. So looking at the drawing, isn't that funny? Doesn't exactly tell me what it is. But one thing is for sure, two things for certain. Here, if I were to draw another circle, there, and I would have created a constraint, and I would have said, that. And then if I were to say the diameter of that is 30, and then these two could be concentric. And it looks like they already are. And there you go. So I made them concentric. So by me making them concentric, um, and me making this line, this circle tangent to this line, that define this the circle that we need. So now I don't need that circle. And what happens is it undefines that, which is fine. Because all I need to do is dimension it just where it is. We have two of them, so I can mirror it. Hence that. So I'll draw a construction line. The origin. So it's not a construction line yet. But if I select it and I come over here to this sketch palette, and I'll go say center line or you go construction line. Either one works. So we just stick construction line. Then I'll come over here. Now I can say I want to mirror this object. Mirror this object about this line. And I'll select OK. And if I do this dimension centers, 70 part, click enter. Now those two circles are fully defined. And then I'll click finish sketch. And then I'll extrude again. Select that, select that. And now if you come over here to your extrude box, distance, I want to go off. And then you see, notice your operation, it immediately changes to cut. Immediately change the cut for you. So that's fine. You don't want to click because you're going all through the object. You click OK, and now you have your two holes. You have your two holes, right? And so, yeah, what you can do after that is you can create a round, right? Or a fillet. So you come here, you select this edge. Select that edge. And you want the round to be 15. Click OK. All right, we can do that again. Select this edge, that edge. Okay. And this time, you want it to be, and then you click OK. And then that's it. That is all, folks. There you have your object. All right, say, well, how do you get to this? How do you make that? Oh, I'm glad you asked. How do we make that? So after you have this completed, right, you go say drawing 1, and it's not an assembly. It's just a drawing. But project, and then you come over here to design, and you go drawing from design. So do that again because I know it went fast. You come over here, hit the drop down arrow, scroll all the way down to drawing, get the drawing, go to your right. See that little arrow there? You see from design, from animation, so you go from design. And then you're gonna say content, full assembly, Yep. And then you go create new. Yep. ISO. You can go ISO or you can go ASME. Just go ASME. From scratch, new to yep. 8 by 11 sheet size. Yep. That's fine. So you can okay. And then guess what happens? You're gonna get a drawing template that pops up. All right, so now this is automatically selected. You don't have to do anything. Well, you do have to do something, but you don't have to do anything for this to happen. You just drag your drawing over and then you place it somewhere. So you click anywhere on the page, right? But the first thing I like to do is change my scale. So I'm gonna go 1 to 2 and notice how it gets bigger. So let's see what happens if I go 1 to 1 scale. And that's huge. That's huge, right? So let's go 1 to 1.5. That should be perfect. And then I just left click and then I click OK. And so now you're back in 2D. And so if I click this and I come to project view, so I select project view, I'm going to select project view off of this. And I'm just going to drag it to the right. And then I'll click OK. And that is my side view. This is my front. And that is my side. So if I click dimension, I can come over here and I can make a dimension off of these. So and so there was 6 of these. So if I come over here and they have 6 places, but all you have to do is go 6x 6 times. That's all you have to do. All right. And then I can click, left click, there's my 40. Click, click, click. Just like AutoCAD. Like that. There's my 15. Yes, show that dimension. That, and so here 2 times. Then you want to this guy, it's 40. You have your height. And that should be it. Oh, not quite. We got this one. That's it. Yeah. So what you do is you click this and click that circle. You're just gonna mark. That's how you get your symbol. And here, hold that and click that, and you can get a center line going through that particular hole there. Leave. That makes it complete. Now, you're probably like, well, what about that little view at the top? Yeah, you can do this little view. That's an isometric view. So you can make an isometric view off of this guy. So you can go project views, click this guy, drag this up in the corner. Like so, check. And you're probably like, well, wait, why isn't it solid? Hey, I'll ask a lot of questions. That's good. No, I'm just kidding. It's good to ask questions. So if you double click it, double left click it, right? And you see that the style, you got visible edge, visible and hidden edges. You have shaded. You have shaded with hidden edges. Click shaded. And there it is. Click close. And you have your guy. Or your girl, whichever it's unisex. There's no sex to this thing. It's just an object. But yeah, that's it. And that's it. And so what you would do is you would export this to a PDF. Okay. All sheets, yes. and you would name it drawing one, whatever going, and you click save, tell you where you want it to be saved. This is that where I want it to be saved. Say check 1304 and some folder that says homework, and I'll click save. And then after you complete all the drawings, you'll submit it. And that is a wrap. So I will turn in, this is actually one of your homework. So I will submit the other objects that you will be creating. Basically, the other drawings that you'll be creating for this homework assignment, I'll submit it onto the Blackboard. I'll upload them to Blackboard. And so you just create what you see, and that'll be all. So thank you again for listening. You all have a great day.